right, so today we're moving away from the shapes, but you'll need to keep them in mind because we will be actually using what we've learned about shapes. But today we're going back to measurements and we are talking about using a ruler. So this is just a quick review about how to use a ruler, and this is so you can try out some measuring tomorrow, as well as you need to measure your tower, okay? So if you have a ruler from home, I have put one on Class Stories. I put it up yesterday so you can print it off. It's the same size ruler that you actually need. But if you don't have one, it's not a big deal, okay? You can just kind of estimate your size for your tower. But I'll show you the work that you can do today so you can still practice your work even though you don't have a ruler. I know it's a bit tricky. I have so many rulers at school and I would love to give them out, but I can't because you guys are at your house and I'm at mine. So we're trapped. So this is a ruler, okay? Make sure that you print off the one. If you're printing it off, make sure you print off the PDF that I sent through on Class Stories, okay? Don't print off this, otherwise it's not going to be the right size. Now, when we do our ruler work, we always start at 0, okay? So there's a 0 here. Okay, never mind. Let's try that again. There is a 0 here and a 0 here. Now, we are not actually looking at this side, the inches. We are looking at centimeters. So you want to find the cm side, okay? Now, obviously, we're using it to measure small things. Some of you might have a measuring tape, which measures longer things. Some of you might even have a meter stick that measures long things. But a ruler this size measures small things around your house or at school or just small things, okay? So there are different marks on a ruler. So the big ones, like I said, we are looking at centimeters, okay? But, so we have centimeters, which are these ones that I'm circling. So the big long ones, those are centimeters, okay? But the ones in the middle, the little ones here, so the little lines, those are millimeters. So 10 millimeters are 1 centimeter, okay? So each time there's 10, then it goes up by 1. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then it's 1 centimeter, okay? Or if you counted in millimeters, it would be 10 and count up by 20. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, okay? But we're looking at centimeters. And just so you know, 100 centimeters equals 1 meter. You will have to know that, but you'll need to know it tomorrow. So today we're going to be focused on centimeters, so you don't really need to worry about the millimeters part of your ruler. Just focus on the centimeters part. Now, the most important thing to remember is to always start at 0. Don't start another number, start at 0. Line it up. You also can't start at the end of your ruler. You need to start it at 0, okay? So here are some examples. This one, wrong. It won't give you the right measurement because you have not started at 0, okay? Here, obviously, this one's also wrong because you've started at 2. And we need to know how much it is measured starting from 0, okay? And then really easy, we just do 2 lines, and now I know that it's 7 centimeters because I started at 0, so it makes it easier to measure. When you're using your ruler, please make sure you measure super carefully. It is so important that you take your time, you make sure it's right at 0, and then you carefully measure the rest of it. Now, today you have 2 options. I know that not everyone has a ruler, so there's one if you don't have a ruler and one for if you do have a ruler or access to a printer, okay? Because I know not everyone also has access to a printer. So if you do not have a ruler at home, I want you to complete this page, okay? You're gonna do page number 1. You don't have to print it off. You can just write the answers down on a sheet of paper. That's fine. And all of your answers are on the page. So you don't need to do any measuring because you have the ruler there. If you have a ruler or if you have a printer, then you can complete this page here, okay? You can even use this ruler down here at the bottom. So you only have to print this page if you want. And you just have to tell me the centimeters. So again, on both pages, number 1 and number 2, you just are writing the centimeters. Now the most important thing that you need to do for centimeters is to remember to write cm after your number, okay? So here you're lucky because it's already written for you. So you're going to measure it very carefully. Now remember, number 1 is if you don't have access to a ruler or a printer at home. And number 2 is for you to do if you have a ruler or access to a printer. So if you have a printer or a ruler, do number 2. If you don't, please do number 1. I've also given you some bonus options, and again, there is 2 depending on if you have a ruler or not a ruler. Now, I know that it's pretty easy, but we want to make sure that you've practiced your measures, okay? And remember, you get 5 points if you do this bonus work for Class Dojo. So, number 1, okay, I'm switching it up just to make it more confusing. This one you need to use if you have access to a ruler and a printer. Okay, so do this one if you have a ruler and a printer, because this one you need your own ruler and you're going to have to print off the page to measure the lines, okay? And that's all you're going to do. You're going to start your ruler at 0 and measure the length of the line and then write the number. For the second one, now remember, this one is if you do not have a printer or ruler. Okay, so you can do number 2, so I'll put no ruler or printer. And all you need to do is try to figure out the length of the lines. And that's it. So you are just gonna see, okay, and you're just going to do the nearest centimeter. So if you look for A, it goes from 0 to the closest number is 4, so you would write 4 centimeters. Okay, for B, it goes from 5 to 11, so I would go 11, take away 5 is 6 centimeters, and that's all you have to do, okay? Now remember that these 2 pages are bonus. They are optional work, so you do not have to complete them, but they are really good practice for measuring, especially because we would be doing loads of measuring at school, probably like hours and hours and hours of measuring. So there are really good practice for you to do, but the 2 pages that you have to do today, only choose, you can do both if you want, and again, you can do both of the bonus options if you want as well. So if you really want to do 4 pages of math, that's fine, but you need to do at least one of these pages. Remember, number 1 is perfect if you do not have a printer and if you do not have a ruler, and number 2, please only do number 2 if you have a ruler and a printer, because you need to print it off. Otherwise you can't get the answers because they won't show up on the screen properly, okay? So those are your options for today. If you want to do more math work and practice more measuring, you can measure things around your house, and there's also a few online games for you that you can do as well, okay? And that's it. So choose one of these pages based on what you have at home: printer, ruler, printer, no printer, mostly. Paper for the printer, ink for the printer. I know some of you have run out of ink, some of you have run out of paper. So if you don't have access to a printer, do number 1. If you do, try and do number 2. And again, the bonus pages, number 1, you need to have a printer so you can print it off, and a ruler. And number 2, you do not need a ruler or a printer. So it's up to you what you feel like completing today, but you need to do at least one of these pages. And that's it. Good luck, and I look forward to seeing how well you have used a ruler.